Hello, it's Tom with Digital Foundry. Do you like patches? Well, I hope you do, because after much waiting we finally got update 1.03 of Fallout 4 on console. Okay, it's a tiny one by today's standards, weighing in at around 500 megabytes, but after the last patch improved frame rates, does this one actually go further and build on that good work? Or to put it another way, are we at a perfectly even 30 FPS yet? Okay, you've seen the graph and you know the answer is not really. For all the game's brilliance in open-ended role-playing, frame rates really aren't Fallout 4's strongest point. This patch actually seems to get a lot done in terms of glitch fixing and the general balancing of play. Now we'll be getting to the PS4 tests in a second, but first this is Xbox One compared between patch 1.02 and patch 1.03, where we really hope to see its stutter issue resolved. Basically, those hoping for a dramatic performance boost on Microsoft's machine might be disappointed. The drops are as frequent and low as before, and worst of all, the dreaded stutters are still an issue when switching weapons after a while of disuse, or just travelling through heavily built up areas. These massive lurches down can distract, and it's not something we get on PS4 to the same degree, but as we've said before, you can alleviate some of this stuttering by installing the game to a hybrid or solid state drive. So, simply put, Xbox One, no performance gains, but Bethesda has actually done something to improve the game visually, and that goes for both consoles. According to a tweet by Bethesda, patch 1.03 actually increases the draw distances on PS4 and Xbox One, and we can confirm objects like trees, buildings and items rendering at a further distance than on patch 1.02. It's a pretty big change. Check out this first scene as we leave Vault 111. Keep an eye on the terrain and trees down below as we switch to the previous patch 1.02. Notice how geometry on houses is rendered all this way away on the new patch, and also the foliage on the ground. It looks much closer to the maxed out PC experience now, coming in close to its top settings for object, item and grass draw. The shot you just saw was on PS4, but here's Xbox One showing a similar thing. Now there are two asides to this. Firstly, while both consoles now match PC at high settings, shadow draw is identical to how it was before. This means you see the same cascade as you run down roads, and shadows fade invisibly ahead. Considering this is one of the more taxing settings on PC, it makes sense consoles have kept shadow settings as is. And secondly, while Xbox One gets away with no performance penalty for this, it appears PS4 does. So let's switch tracks and go to the before and after in PS4 performance. On patch 1.03 on the right, there are clear-cut examples of performance being reduced, possibly due to the use of these higher LOD settings. Now fortunately, this only appears to affect frame rates in and around Diamond City. Note the lurch down as we circle the entrance to the city gate, coming lower than the last patch. And as we go into the city centre, we see performance dropping again. This only affects PS4 on these specific spots, and generally speaking you get an identical level of performance everywhere else. We've checked far and wide, where battles in Concord Town and general traversal around Corvega Factory are just as they were on patch 1.02. So all in all, that's not bad going, just an unusual drawback on PS4, though quite why Xbox One doesn't have a similar dip in performance is a bit of a mystery. So the last thing to test of course is how PS4 and Xbox One match up on patch 1.03, and the obvious first test, since everything else is pretty much as we left it, is how Diamond City runs when we pit the two against each other. Well, even with the PS4's reduced performance in this spot, it still outperforms Xbox One by 1 frame per second on average, so nothing's really changed in that sense. As for the rest, well, it's a bit of a mixed bag just as it ever was, but for the most part this is the same readout to patch 1.02 on consoles, with the same hiccups on Xbox One during battle, but otherwise a general match in performance in other scenes. But don't take my word for it, feel free to check out the rest of the comparison footage here. We've probably produced way more footage than we needed, but it's all there if you're curious. Overall then, it's good news on balance. Both PS4 and Xbox One get a decent visual upgrade, less pop-in, with performance only apparently being affected in one spot on PS4. That's not a bad trade-off at all. Unfortunately, we have heard one game-breaking bug, specifically one during the end of the line mission, is still an issue according to our Eurogamer colleague Wesley Ian Poole. This has meant he's literally stuck at a brick wall and is unable to finish this off on this latest patch, something we had hoped would be fixed for him. But that's enough from me. Let us know what you make of patch 1.03 in the comments below, and if you fancy giving us a like or even subscribe to us, that'd be really appreciated too. Until the next one, see you later.